morning everyone, and welcome back to the vlog. I'm out today making the most of capturing these stunning autumn colours here in Perthshire, and it really is quite spectacular. So I thought this would be a brilliant opportunity to give you my 7 tips for capturing those beautiful autumn colours. So let's go see what we can find. So I've come to my first scene here on the bridge, and that brings me to tip number 1, which is spend the year scoping out those locations for, in particular this time, autumnal colours or winter scenes, because you know where to head. And this is one of those instances where I've seen this scene before and I've been waiting for that real full autumnal colour to come through, and it hasn't disappointed. So I position myself on the bridge here and I'm looking down the river, and it really is an incredible scene. Those autumn colours are absolutely stunning. They're reflecting in the river. We've got a little bit of light, but it's not too harsh. I'll come back a little bit later on as the light comes around, but I like this. It gives me a little bit of a longer exposure with the water flowing through because I need more light. So I'll show you what I'm looking at on the back of the camera. We really do have this stunning autumnal scene, both sides of the river here. We've got our beaches on the left and right, which are giving off those real coppery colours, and some lighter leaves as we come back. And I've got some rocks in my foreground interest. There's a bit of a breeze coming through here, and if you look left and right of the image, you'll see that those leaves are moving. So I'm having to wait a little while for that to stop. Just above my scene is some light busting through. So I've really sort of moved my camera down just to get that scene and to capture those colours without too much light on the top of my image there. I'm shooting on my 70 to 200mm lens, and yeah, I think this is going to be a stunning scene. We've got a branch on the right-hand side, just bottom right, which is coming down into the water. And we've got this real stunning tree coming out central at the background of my image there, which really does give this image just something to really sort of focus on and draw the eye through. And there's some incredible reflections in the water as it comes around the bend. Unfortunately, there's a little bit too much light captured just by those rocks there, so I'm going to have to sort that out in processing and take that back a little bit, because it will really be too much to draw the eye into, and we don't want that. We want the eye looking through the image down into our background with that beautiful tree coming across the river. Well, I'll wait for that wind to stop, and here's the image. It's a chilly -2 degrees here today, so you certainly feel it. My second tip is, if you can, come out after you've had some rainfall. That rain really helps to saturate those autumnal colours. It's been fairly dry the last couple of days here, so the light and the colours are a lot softer. But if you manage to get out after the rain, everything is given that real vibrant punch, and it really helps to saturate those colours. So tip number 3 is to use a polarizer. We tend to only think of going for polarizers when we're shooting water scenes to knock back some of those reflections, but we need them in forests and woodlands too. And it really helps, one, to knock back those strong reflections, especially if it has been raining, but also it helps to saturate those colors. And I've come across this incredible, stunning scene that is on the other side of the river. So I've dropped on my 70 to 200mm lens to just really get in close. And it really does sum up autumn in a nutshell. We've got some beautiful colors over there. The light's just coming across the top, which is just a little bit too bright, but fortunately now and again it goes behind the clouds and we don't get too strong a harsh light. But I've got this autumnal tree that is just surrounded in an absolute mass of color. And well, I'm just going to wait, I think, and just wait for that cloud just to sort of go, just to lose that strong light. And as I say, shooting on my 70 to 200mm lens, I'm using the polarizer to help bring out those colors. And well, here's the image. Tip number 4 is to get out early morning, late evening. We tend to sort of think that we only go out early morning and late evening to catch sunrises and sunsets, but it's that beautiful warm glow that we get early in the morning, late evening, that warm light that will really help to punch those golden colors and just add that little bit of extra vibrancy to your images. Tip number 5 is to remember that different trees change their colours throughout those different times of autumn. We've got the birches, which start really early on and we start to get those yellow colours. But then later through autumn, it's when we start to see the colouring changes in the beeches and the oaks and the rowans that really do start to come into play and give us those golden coppery colours. You can see from this tapestry of trees that sits opposite the river just how many different shades of colour there are. But what I'm actually honing in on is that I've noticed just up to my right here are a couple of trees which have already gone through that sort of change and they've lost their leaves. And I like the way their sort of silvery colour sits in front of that beautiful golden colour behind it with greens and a few yellows. Now, I'm not too sure how this image is going to come out because I am shooting up at the bank. Sometimes that can just look a little distorted. So what I'm doing, but I mean, it's always worth trying to take these pictures. So I'm on my 70 to 200mm lens and I'm zoomed right into 200mm. And I'll show you what I'm looking at on the back of the camera. So you can see on the back of the camera, we've got these two trees, one on the left and one on the right, which have lost their leaves and are looking really silvery and grey against the backdrop of colour. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of shooting up at the bank on the other side, but it's a lovely composition with both trees either side. And we've got that sort of golden coppery colour right central in our image. We've almost got some sort of reds and burgundies on the left. And it really is, as I said, a tapestry of colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of shots. I should be able to get away with around about ISO 64 because there's absolutely no wind on that side of the bank. It's very well sheltered. You can just see some of the leaves are just dropping out of the trees now. I don't think we've got much of autumn left, but anyway, if it does work, here's the image. And that really leads me on to tip number 6 nicely, and that is look for trees which have got that little bit of character, that stand out from the rest of them. In this scene, we've got these 2 trees which really do stand out, partly because they've lost their leaves, but also partly because of the twisting branches that sit against that splash of colour. So my final tip, tip number 7, is you don't have to be deep in the middle of a forest or a woodland to capture those autumnal scenes. Last episode of the vlog, I was in the middle of a field, which was pretty sparse with just a couple of trees and a gate. And you could be your local city park, your garden, it doesn't matter. It's just capturing those changing colours and a moment in time. Well, I think that's it for this episode of the vlog. I'm starting to really feel the chill, and I think it's definitely time for a warm coffee. And we're not going to really have much of that autumnal colour for much longer. You can see all around me the leaves are beginning to fall, and I think it's because of that drop in temperature. We've had sort of -2, -3 degrees, and I think that really has just started to set in, and you can see the leaves falling around me. But what an incredible day. Those autumnal colours have been spectacular, and we really have captured the scene. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the vlog. If you have, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment below. It's so good to hear from you, and it really helps the channel. Next episode, I'm hoping to be over on Indanoon, capturing a stunning gorge that I visited before, but I'm looking forward to going back to, and I hope you can join me for that episode. See you then.